All right. Time for some Starfield. 25 years in the making. Let's see here. All right.
Sixteen times the detail.
Yes.
Over 1,000 planets for you to
Screw you,
explore.
Todd Howard. I'm going to sleep. Starfield, is a huge disappointment by Bethesda. I don't even know where to begin with this game. Everyone should be on high alert. Bethesda is falling hard. Starfield is a game that increases their weaknesses and decreases their strengths. For starters, the world is empty and unfun to explore.
Like, look at this. It almost feels like they were just like, hey, let's put a couple rocks over there, maybe a little bit of rocks over there. And then each area only has like a couple POIs, right? There's only like 2 or 3 POIs that I find most of the time. Like, this is not fun to explore.
Let's compare that to past Bethesda games, shall we? I mean, the world just lacks detail comparatively to the past Bethesda games. Like, for example, in Skyrim, you would just, find bees floating around or something like that. It's just those little tiny details that are missing in Starfield that leave it uninspiring and, lacking passion. Also, can someone please tell me why the graphics feel worse than Skyrim, a game that was released 12 years ago? Thanks a lot for the 1,000 planets, Todd.
System, but over 100 systems. Over 1,000 planets, all open for you to explore.
I mean, who cares if there's 1,000 planets if they're dull and full of nothing? I mean, it's unfun to play. And also, I find it funny that this was their response to fans being worried about the 1,000 planets being dull and boring to explore. Not every planet is supposed to be Disney World. When the astronauts went to the moon, there was nothing there. They certainly weren't bored. And we could have made a game where there are 4 cities and 4 planets, but that would not have had the same feeling of being this explorer. I mean, I understand what they're trying to say here, but bigger isn't always better. This is like a black and white perspective to me. Why even include so many of those planets then? Some of them would have been okay to add for the realism of exploring space, but it's not just some of them. It's like all of them. Why this extreme scale of 4 planets or 1,000? I get that Bethesda is known for making open world games, but this is the biggest problem with Starfield. Somebody needed to pump the brakes during development and tell Todd Howard, "We're up to 700 planets. Hey Todd, it's big enough. No, we must reach 1,000. It's worked with all the other games. Just make it bigger." They should have put more POIs in the game or added more interesting dialogue to NPCs or fixed their tired faces. Something else besides prioritizing size, which is what this game does at the cost of everything else. Just make it bigger. This game needed to be smaller and fine-tuned. The game is just missing so much little details in the world and love that they had in their past games like Skyrim. This to me shows a lack of passion in the creative process. And don't get me started on the NPCs in this game with their freaky eyes and bad facial animations.
Oh my god. You okay, buddy? Look like you've seen some things.
And then perhaps one of the funniest encounters is when you go into Neon City and you go into this nightclub and you see the people dancing there, and it's like their eyes are pulling in one direction, but it feels like their body wants to pull in another direction. It's quite bizarre.
Dude, I just can't with these NPCs.
It just felt like there was something off with their facial expressions. I mean, their face is like this. It's like they can't tell if they should be sad, mad, or happy, and neither can I. But maybe their face is just tired.
Sorry, my face is tired.
Also, every conversation is just zooming in on their lifeless face, like Bethesda's stuck back in 2006 when they released Oblivion.
Is there a problem?
I mean, come on, Bethesda. This shit is unacceptable. There's no excuse for this. And then the persuasion in the conversations felt underwhelming. I felt nearly every time if I just click the last option, then it works.
Afraid Mr. Sleep. He did? Oh, I think we can make an exception in your case.
I felt like the effort here was minimal. In fact, if they're going to go full Oblivion, then at least bring the dialogue wheel back. I'd rather have that at this point.
Gracious. That's pretty. You can't scare me.
At least then I can tell why their facial expression is in a certain way. The day and night cycles of NPCs are dull and boring, essentially just lifeless NPCs walking around that occasionally have conversations, and for some reason they're all carrying briefcases. Also, they even reuse the same NPCs, or very similar looking ones at least.
You guys tell me, is this the same guy? Oh look, there he is again.
They barely react to anything you do, or if they do, it's unnatural.
Hey.
The only somewhat interesting NPC I found was when you run into your companion Walter Stroud's wife, and she has kind of a ruthless business mentality, but a soft side for her husband Walter.
I never said that. Did you have an agent hack into my files again?
Only after you had one hack into mine. Tell me, can mutual distrust lead to a point where it's actually the same as mutual trust?
This leads me to my next part, the companions. You would think that Bethesda would have improved the companion AI by now, right? Wrong. Cue the video.
Oh, it's satisfying. Is it everything you imagined? Well, that's a first.
I mean, they're just glitching all the time, and in particular during conversation, which is perhaps the most important part of being a companion.
Call that a win. What do you think?
Thank you. I guess.
Where is the innovation or improvement here? It feels like they're stuck in the past and actually have regressed. Like they've gotten complacent since Skyrim and lazily rely on making everything bigger. The NPCs are lifeless, unnatural, and the companions are glitching half the time. And then we have the main quest in Starfield. One word: boring. I mean, it's essentially a glorified fetch quest where you collect 24 artifacts. 24 artifacts. And all they do is just repackage this in different ways. I mean, what happened to more interesting quest lines of the past Bethesda games? Like in Skyrim, where you become a Dragonborn and you learn a language to try to save the world. Or in Oblivion, when Mehrunes Dagon, the Daedric Prince of Destruction, is invading the land and opening portals. Like, what happened to those? The main quest just feels lazy and uninspiring. They even have boring main quests like this one where you just click on a tool for a companion and it gives you a prompt and you repeat that 3 times. It doesn't stop there. They also give you the pleasure during the main quest to float around a glowing ball, hitting these areas of energy over and over until you unlock a dragon shout, star power. I mean, they're eventually nice enough to change it up and add a Starborn later on that you have to fight at each one. I really had to slog through the main quest and struggle through it. Don't expect any relief from the side quests either. I kept hoping the world would interact with me more, causing me to engage with interesting side quests. It just never really happened. And this leads me to my next biggest issue, the interface. Whoever designed this, you have to go through so many screens just to get to your quest destination.
Why is there so many menus I have to go through to get to my quest? It's a terrible combination with the loading screens. Yikes.
Now add on to the fact that you have to go through loading screen after loading screen after loading screen in this game. Talk about immersion breaking. I mean, it's just clunky and not smooth at all. And another example of the interface being frustrating to deal with is the outpost. I mean, you have to navigate the map system to look for one little symbol that looks like all the other symbols on the map. It just made me not want to build an outpost at all, or even deal with it. Why isn't there just a list of my outposts that I can fast travel to? This is just another example of them scaling the game too much and being arrogant trying to make it bigger. And perhaps the most unforgivable thing is having no city maps. How on earth did they think it was a good idea to not have better maps than this? This bleeds into my next issue with Starfield, the loot management. The game does have a ton of loot, but I constantly found myself having to run around town to sell my stuff because my inventory space is so limited. But every time you have to try to remember where the right spot is to go and sell your stuff, of which not everyone will buy everything you have. so you have to remember other vendor spots as well. I mean, they do have the trade kiosk, but it doesn't even have enough credits. You have to wait an eternity before it replenishes its money. Why would you not include markers on where things are like your previous games? I just don't understand. Did they need more time to make the game? I hope not, because it's been 25 years in the making, according to them.
And now, for the first time in over 25 years, we're creating a new universe with Starfield.
The interface in this game just needed to be more simple, so that you can spend more time doing fun things in the game, like some of the combat. The combat was one of the only good parts in Starfield. And when I say good, I mean it was okay. Compared to their past games, it definitely felt more fluid. I mean, there was one point where I just ran around using my anti-gravity ability and stabbing people. It was quite fun.
Yeah, take that. Yeah. Yeah, take that trash can. See, now this is fun.
Although I do wish they would have included something like the VAT system from Fallout or the kill cam from Skyrim and improved those mechanics. So for me, the combat was by no means spectacular, and I honestly expected more, but I will give credit where it's due in areas of improvement. And speaking of giving credit, arguably the best part about Starfield is the shipbuilding. You can build some really cool ships as so many people have playing this game. It was pretty satisfying flying around my blue ship that I built.
Got my blue ship! I've always wanted a blue ship! That's pretty cool.
Although I do wish the space battles would have been a little better. I mean, it's okay, shuffling around your points, so like your engine or your shields, but I wish they would have added something like a barrel roll from Star Fox and Nintendo 64 from back in the day.
Do a barrel roll!
The only other thing you could do is a boost, and I just feel like the space battle is a little bit too basic for me. And this leads me to my score of Starfield. It needed to be scaled down a little bit. It sacrificed everything for size, and it's just sad to see Bethesda's fall from glory. It was lazy, uninspiring, and I just didn't feel the passion in this game. So for me, Starfield is a 5.5. It's barely average. I think I'm gonna go play Fallout, Skyrim, or Oblivion instead.